So our last topic for the given section, that is solution chemistry, is distribution law, and the distribution law comprises of Nernst distribution law. So it was given by Nernst, and it tells about us. It tells us about the distribution of a solute in two solvents, mixture of two solvents. So it is called Nernst distribution law. So first of all, we will take its definition. What does its definition say? Its definition says that a solute distributes itself between two non-miscible solvents in contact with each other in such a way that at equilibrium the ratio of the concentration of the solute in the two layers is constant, and mathematically it is given as concentration N of X in solvent A oblique concentration N of X in solvent B is equal to C of C1 oblique C2, that is equal to K. What is X? X is a solute and A and B are solvents. Here I have drawn a pictorial representation that there is a given beaker and there are two solvents, that is solvent A and solvent B, and this is the layer that separating both these solvents, and concentration of X is a solute. So concentration of solute in solvent A is represented as C1 and concentration of X in solvent B is represented as C2. So the ratio between these concentration, that is C1 oblique C2, is equal to K, that is constant. And concentration, I earlier told you that how the concentration is expressed as molarity, normality, molarity, or there are many other ways to express the concentration of a solute, the strength, mass percentage, or some other ways. So we have taken a general term, the concentration. So let's go again to the definition. What does definition say? A solute distributes itself. So what is a solute? Solute is the in a solution, solute is that component which is lesser in quantity. So a solute distributes itself between two non-miscible solvents. So what are two non-miscible solvents? Non-miscible solvents are those solvents which are when mixed together they does not mix with each other and form separate layers, as you have seen in when you take water in kerosene or water in petrol or diesel, the kerosene, they doesn't mix with each other. So two non-miscible solvents. So solvent is that component of a solution which is in excess quantity and solute is in lesser quantity. So solvents in contact with each other. So two non-miscible solvents when in contact with each other, so in such a way that at equilibrium the ratio of concentration of the solute in the two layer is constant. So let's suppose that I take two solvents, solvent A and B. So these solvents are non-miscible, that is they don't mix with each other and forms the separate layer. You will see in the lab, and if you have carbon tetrachloride and water mixture, that forms a immiscible solvent pair. So when you will add a solute into it, suppose X is a solute, and when you will add solute X into this solution, it will add to the both the solvents in such a way that the ratio of concentration of the solute in the two layers is constant. So mathematically it is represented as concentration, that is N of X. X is a solute in solvent A oblique concentration N of X in solvent B is equal to C1 oblique C2, that is equal to K, that is constant. So further, Nernst distribution law. So Nernst distribution law studies the distribution of solute between two immiscible solvents in contact with each other. So if we will write immiscible or non-miscible, that is a one and same thing. So for example, when a dilute solution of iodine in water shaken with carbon tetrachloride, the iodine distributes itself between two immiscible solvents. So iodine is about 86 times more soluble in carbon tetrachloride than water. So they are saying that if you will take in a container solution of iodine in water, either you will take the particular concentration of iodine and add it will to the water. So when you will take it in a beaker or a flask and when you will add that carbon tetrachloride to it, so after a while you will see that most of the amount of iodine from this water goes to the carbon tetrachloride. So this is so this iodine is 86 times more soluble in carbon tetrachloride than in the water. So due to higher solubility, most of the iodine passes into CCl4 layer. So in simple words, iodine is distributed between two immiscible solvents, water and carbon tetrachloride. Further, so this K is called partition coefficient. So K is equal to partition coefficient. So K is also called partition coefficient. And further, the factors which affects the partition coefficient are nature of solute, nature of the liquid pair, and temperature. So let's take one by one what does these different factors says about the partition coefficient. So first of all, the nature of solute. For a particular liquid pair, different solutes have different solubility, hence the value of partition coefficient will be different for different solutes at given temperature. So you can see it in the books, various books, there are various examples how does the partition coefficient for the different solutes varies with the same solvent pair. Next is the nature of the liquid pair. So in liquid pair, a given solute has different partition coefficient in different liquid pairs. So it also varies with the liquid pair. And next is the last factor which affects the partition coefficient is temperature. The solubility of a solute in a particular solvent changes with temperature. As the temperature is changed, the solubility of solute in a given liquid pair also changes. So you must know from the equilibrium constant. I had already taught you the equilibrium. What is equilibrium? And I always tell you that equilibrium constant, that is K, that depends upon the temperature always. So the value of partition constant, that is also a kind of equilibrium constant. It will change with the temperature. So at particular temperature, the partition coefficient will have particular value. So change in the value of partition coefficient K for 1 degree rise in temperature is known as temperature coefficient. So further, so condition for the validity of distribution law are follows. The temperature should be kept constant. The two solvents should be immiscible or sparingly soluble. As I told you in the definition, these are the condition. You can depict the condition from the definition of Nernst distribution law. So first condition is that temperature should be kept constant. That I had told you earlier that this is also a kind of equilibrium constant, and equilibrium constant always depends upon the temperature. So you, to obtain the partition coefficient, you first of all you have to keep the temperature constant. Second is the two solvents should be immiscible or sparingly soluble. So I had written in the definition. Third is the mutual solubility of two solvents should not be affected by addition of solute. So solute should not change the solubility of two solvents with each other. Fourth is the solution should be dilute, and fifth is the molecular state of solute should be same in both the solvents. So molecular state of the solute should be same in the both the solvents. Next are the application of distribution law. So first application of distribution law is it helps in the calculating the solubility of solute in a solvent. So when a solute is shaken, this solute is shaken with the two immiscible solvents in contact with each other. At equilibrium, both the solvents are saturated with the solute. Therefore, the concentration at equilibrium are equal to the solubility of solute in both the solvents. So we can write it as C1 oblique C2 is equal to solubility, that is S1 oblique S2 is equal to K, and K is the equilibrium constant, where C1 is equal to S1, that is the solubility of solute in solvent 1. 1 represent the one solvent and 2 represent the other solvent, and 1 and 2 each represent the immiscible solvent pair. So So you can calculate the concentration, equilibrium, solubility of any of the solubility of solute in any of the solvents. So if we will know the value of distribution constant, the solubility of solute in one of the solvent or the solubility in other solvent can be calculated. So if you know the any of the two terms from this equation, you can calculate the third term. Whether you know S1 S2, you can calculate K. If you have been given with S2 and K, you can calculate S1, or if you have been given with S1 and K, you can calculate the S2. So hence further it is helpful in the distribution indicators. So certain solvents can appreciably dissolve even the small amount of solute present in some other solvent. When such a solvent is added to dilute solution of solute in some other solvent, most of the solute gets distributed into this solvent. Hence it acts as an indicator for the presence of even small amount of the solute. For example, a dilute solution of iodine in water is almost colorless. Iodine is considerably soluble in CS2. Its distribution coefficient between CS2 and water is 400. Therefore, an extremely dilute solution of iodine can be estimated by adding a few drops of CS2 to its aqueous solution. A sufficient amount of iodine passes into CS2 layer and gives it a deep violet color. This solution may be titrated against hypo. So what does it mean? It means that suppose you have taken a beaker in which you have taken a solution of iodine in water, that is you have added some amount of iodine, that is a solute in water, and water is a solvent. So this solution is almost colorless, and this is a very dilute solution. Dilute means there is a very less amount of iodine in water present. So this solution is almost colorless. When you will add carbon disulfide to it, that is CS2 to it, that is CS2, as soon as you will add CS2 to it, most of the amount from this solution, most of the amount of this iodine from this solution goes to CS2, and color of this solution, CS2 is originally colorless. But when you add this CS2, that is carbon disulfide, to this solution, that is solution of iodine in water, the color of carbon disulfide changes to violet. So this shows that there is a distribution of iodine between water and carbon disulfide. Why does this colorless carbon disulfide changes to violet? Because there is the presence of iodine that comes from this iodine in water solution to this carbon disulfide. So this indicates the distribution of iodine in carbon disulfide and water solution. And distribution coefficient for this CS2 and water is 400. That is concentration of C1/C2 of iodine in CS2/ water is 400 distribution coefficient. So it clearly indicates that C1 is directly proportional to K, that is distribution constant, and C2 is inversely proportional to this distribution constant. So C1 is this layer and C2 is this layer. Third is in determining the extent of association or dissociation of a solute in a solvent. So first of all, we must know what is association or dissociation. Association means when you add a solute to a solution, it goes this kind of attachment between same molecules. Like when you will add some salt of carboxylic acid to the solution, n moles of carboxylic acid, they will form a hydrogen bond among themselves. This kind of hydrogen bond. So these molecules undergo association, and opposite of it is dissociation. So let me tell you what about the association or dissociation. Using distribution law, the molecular state of solute in a solvent can be determined in the distribution experiment if the ratio of concentration of solute in both the solvent C oblique C2 is constant, then the solute behave normally in both the solvents. What are they saying? If C1 oblique C2 is simply constant for this immiscible pair of solvents, then it is neither of solute going association nor it will go dissociation. But when the solute X undergoes association in one of the solvent, that is n moles of X associates to form these xn molecules having concentration C2 in it, then the distribution law is modified further as. So if for association, the distribution constant will be modified as C1 oblique C2, nth root of C2 will be equal to K. So this is the formula for association. And further, if it undergoes dissociation, so for the dissociation it will be written as this formula is written as C1 oblique C2 1 minus alpha is equal to K. Alpha is the degree of dissociation and C1 C2 are the concentration of the solute in different solvents. So further, it is helpful in the study of chemical equilibrium involving formation of complex ions. So last topic of this unit is solvent extraction. How the solvent this distribution law is helpful in the process of extraction, that we will take next time.